And this weekend here in Jackson at Cooperation Jackson Center, the Chokwe Lumumba Center for Economic Democracy and Development, we've been combining three important processes. The Climate Justice Alliance launch of the Summer of Our Power, also the Southern Grassroots Economies Project Education Regional Gatherings, which is taking place this year, but it's going to lead into next year back at Co-op Econ. And Ed will talk more about that. But also the U.S. Social Forum. And so we wanted to be in solidarity with everyone from across the country, whether you were in Philly or whether you were in the Bay Area. And so we've linked all three of these processes together this weekend. And so we had 5 different tracks focused all on systems change: women and gender, youth, economic democracy, energy democracy, and workers' rights and labor. And we ended the weekend all coming together to recognize the overlaps, how things are integrated, because we really want to be having an intersectional approach and recognize all the different complexities and facets and communities and identities that are impacted and that are coming up with their own solutions. And so each of the groups looked at 4 things: problem, vision, programs, and demands, so that we could move towards a direction of a just transition. Transitioning from the economies and the extractive economy and all the different things that we know are damaging to our communities, and actually also profiting on the back of our communities to make a very small amount of people wealthy and more wealthier. We made connections between what's going on locally, regionally, and in the United States to a global system and a global movement. And we're hoping that coming out of this, we have some concrete things that we can take back home and start working on to really make a just transition realized.
Very good. And I'm Ed Whitfield with the Southern Grassroots Economies Project. And also I work at the Fund for Democratic Communities in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was very happy to be here and involved with SGEP helping to sponsor this event, as well as helping to provide some of the content for the dialogue around economic democracy in particular. All of these things, as Saki has said, are intimately connected with each other. The problems that we face are the result of the system that is rooted in private ownership of the capacities of people to be productive, private ownership of the means of production, which is essentially a process of owning the earth and all of the product of people's labor over millennia. And that with that root, it leads to a kind of devastating consequences that results in the continued extraction of the earth's resources in a non-renewable kind of way, and the continued exploitation and extraction of a piece of the humanity of all of us living here. It's just really, really been heartwarming to see the amount of energy and intelligence that so many people have brought here to this meeting. There were a lot of people who were here who understand a lot about what is going on in the world, and this created an opportunity for kind of networking and the emergence of new and even more powerful ideas about the things that we can do together to make change. It's part of a broad process of thinking together, leading us to act together so that we can change, so that we can create the power that we need to both resist and advocate for change on the one hand, but also build the new world that we want to live in. I think that this meeting and the others like this that have taken place within the last week or so are part of a broad process that is very, very encouraging in terms of its showing the clarity and increased energy and intensity with which people are taking up these struggles and moving forward. The issue of the 3 issues that kind of come together in increasing the amount of energy that's going into a lot of social struggles, and that has to do with the economic crisis on the one hand, the climate crisis on the other, and the devastation of the food system is a third. With these, some of the folk who have for years fought to protect the system are finding out that they're no longer welcome in it either. Those of us on the very bottom of the system have a particularly important leadership role to play, though, because those people who are just now coming to realize that they don't like the system would hardly be the reliable leaders of the future. Even though I think as they come more and more into the fold, they become just like all of the rest of us. But for right now, it's really, really important that those people in frontline communities, grassroots communities, people who are most affected by the economic crisis and the climate devastation and the collapse of the food system, that those be the people that exert leadership. So one of the things that happened in this meeting was a conscious attempt to help evoke and demonstrate and give space to the leadership of those communities in this dialogue around the overall crises that we're facing and what we need to do about it. This is a very, very encouraging part of how our movement is moving forward.
Yeah, and so just to end, here in Jackson over the weekend, we had different communities and organizations from Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Minnesota, Florida. People came from lots of different places, and one of the real focuses was on the South in particular.
You have a total count?
I know, I actually did a head count yesterday, and so right before lunch yesterday, there was about 185 people. Okay. And so we had a lot of people come in and out, particularly local people coming in and out. So at least 200 people gathered this weekend here in Jackson. And you know, we're really inspired, and we hope that we're doing our ancestor Chokwe Lumumba justice. I'm sure he's proud of all of us. And so we're leading from here, hoping to go to Paris, take it to an international stage, look up COP, the Conference of Parties 21. We're gonna have a video that shares a lot more information and breaks it down. And so we're talking about starting in Jackson and having the road lead to Paris at the end of the year. And I'm gonna end with a slogan that's become popularized in Jackson through the Malcolm X grassroots movement and people who supported Chokwe Lumumba, and say, free the land.
And I wanted to add, I wanted to add the Cooperation Jackson has been incredibly gracious hosts for this event, have made everyone feel very, very welcome and well accommodating the range of needs that people had, dietary, physical, otherwise. This has gone very, very well, and a tribute again to the Chokwe Lumumba Center and Cooperation Jackson for its role in hosting this event. It's been very, very powerful.
Thanks.
Now you can free.
And we couldn't have done it without everybody who was here, who was willing to volunteer. And I think one of the themes of the weekend was that we all need to be pulling our human capacity and our resources together to make a just transition real in real life.
Because that's all we've got.
Right. All right, we can say free the land together.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Free the land.